Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today, 25th of June, I understood, you already know probably, that Julian Assange is free. Can you imagine? Finally, he's free. Therefore, I prepared his horoscope for you to see, to make an overview on his general characteristics of the horoscope, and also to see what made him free, which aspect, if this is really so. I believe it is so. The reasons could be many, maybe because in the beginning of July there will be elections in the UK, I don't know. Um, the reasons certainly will be very complex, and we are not believers. If you're watching my channel, you're certainly not a believer in the good intention of this, but good for him. I'm very happy for him. So I will make a quick overview of the horoscope, and then we look at the main transits. We cannot look at anything, many more astrological um, means, because we are not very sure whether he's really born at 3 p.m., as I found on internet. When I see exact time of birth, like 3 p.m., 1 p.m., I always doubt whether this is the correct time of birth. Always. My experience told me that this is usually not the case. I looked at his time cycles, his time lords, and so, and I'm not very sure whether they're correct exactly, because we need to have the precise time of birth. So let me share my screen with you to show you the horoscope of Julian Assange. So he's born in Australia, in Townsville, 3rd of July 1971. I will apply the ancient Babylonian astrology to this. You can follow me when you look at his chart. So if this ascendant degree is correct, 7 degrees of Scorpio, then this is pretty much not a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences, because this is sacred degree. In astrology, we have 7 only such degrees which are sacred. Only very special people have these degrees, especially when this is on the ascendant. So 7 degrees Scorpio is the crown of the Scorpion, and this shows that the person in past lifetime was very special, either priest or was somebody with the knowledge, a wise man. So this is him. Scorpio, his Mars is exalted, so he very strong third house Mars. Truly a horoscope of somebody who is like a soldier, and we've seen he is a soldier. With Rahu, this is even stronger. So he has Rahu Mars conjunction, exalted Mars, and Mars is trining his Saturn. And Saturn is in the 8 degrees of Taurus, and these 8 degrees of Taurus is aspecting the sacred degree. So if we would think, why would he go through this immense suffering? Most probably, and not most probably, but this is quite evident, Saturn, the Lord of Karma, is opposing his past. He's opposing the sacred degree where he was, which points towards the past. His um, the 7th degree of his past knowledge, past expertise, into priesthood, into the secret knowledge. These are hermetic degrees of great knowledge. So maybe he did something which what he's paying for now in this lifetime, and Saturn is pointing towards that. He's saying, you did something in past lifetime which was maybe in disagreement with the universal laws, and now you have to pay. Um, Jupiter on his ascendant, of course, is very protective. If this is his ascendant, maybe yes, maybe, probably yes. Also, what I understood when I was reading his biography just now briefly on Wikipedia, I understood and that he's very educated, very knowledgeable, very smart. He's mathematician, he's programmer, he's media person. He has a great expertise in hacking. When he was 16, he was already a great hacker. And because of this, as you know, because he created WikiLeaks, the hacking medium, he's now he's been suffering in jail for so many years. And this is because he has amazing visible Mercury. Mercury, Hermes, is responsible for our mental capacities. Visible Mercury is something quite exceptional, and his Mercury is in Gemini on his throne. So he has the sun in the point of the summer solstice, or it will be winter for Australia, of course, for the other hemisphere. But Mercury is visible and it is in Gemini and is with Venus. So he's very talented, truly talented person with a beautiful mind, because Venus in the second degrees, also Mercurian degrees of Hermes, with the Sun, Venus is and with Mercury. Now, just bracket to open. Mercury is usually invisible because he comes very near the Sun, and in almost 90 something percent of the horoscopes, Mercury is invisible, and you can see this. People, in their majority, are maybe not awake and not exceptionally smart. He is exceptionally smart. Mercury in the very last degrees, in Gemini, in Saturn in degrees. These are degrees which would be giving, yeah, a great knowledge in mathematics, in exact structure type of knowledge, and eighth house, house of the secret knowledge. It is exactly where he was researching, where he was working in the secret knowledge. And you have the moon also in the secret house in the 14 degrees of Libra, where you have the constellation of the Northern Crown, which make people visible with what they do. These are the degrees of designers, people with great talents, people who, and this moon is making applying aspect to the sun. Moon trine sun, so he's very balanced. It is hard for them to take him out of his balance. Yes, maybe they managed. I heard that his health is not very good now, but moon trine from Venus, from the sun, and Mercury, and the moon is making a plane aspect to the sun. This is a person of, he's very special. This is a beautiful horoscope. Um, the planet which responds to for the moral values is Saturn, and Saturn is in his own triplicity in a day chart. Saturn in his own triplicity in Taurus is just great. He has morals. I am sure, and he receives trine from Mars. Saturn, when trine by Mars, such people are very strong and very practical. This is a horoscope of really somebody who has morals, has decency, dignity, like a soldier. Exalted Mars, trining Saturn, like a soldier. This is lovely horoscope. He has now. I don't know if we should look at that because, yeah, okay, he has a Ketu responsible for past lifetime in the ninth house, in the 22nd degrees of Cancer. Um, yes, this shows past life in, again, spiritual matters. He is spiritual. And he is not somebody who is very much willing to be in the media or to be very social or to, like what is happening now, unfortunately, to him, to be so much in public. This is not what he likes, what he wants really. When he gets married, and I think 2 years ago or 1.5 years ago, he got married to his lawyer, the marriage will be quite stable. It will be forever, and this is because of the placement of Saturn in a daily chart. This Saturn is benevolent, I think, to some degree. Of course, the most interesting question, if we follow his biography, now his most difficult timing. I cannot look at primary directions because they are very time specific, unfortunately. Otherwise, we could have had great information. We could derive a lot if we knew the time of birth. We could know exactly how his future will unfold. He had the most difficult time in his life once Saturn was transiting on his moon. Um, Also, the Time Lords, I prepared them. We can look at them, but again, with a little bit point of, so when he was in his, almost in the beginning of his Saturn period, which was 2010-11, his difficulty started. And then the same time, Saturn was transiting on his moon. So this makes sense, a little bit. Then now, as we speak, we will not look in detail all his events and marriage. Maybe we could, but now, as we speak, he will be free today. When he's in his Mercury period, he most probably entered his Mercury period in 2014 in June, and now, as we speak, he is in his Mercury Rahu period, and the third lord is Jupiter. Now, when he's in his Mercury Rahu period, Mercury is very benevolent and very powerful in his chart, so this is helpful. But Mercury is not the planet which will denote freedom to him, but at least he's not in the Saturn cycle anymore, which is quite limiting. Look how interesting. On 18th of June, just 6-7 days ago, Uranus made his great move. Uranus entered Taurus, which is his seventh house, the house where his Saturn is placed. And Uranus is not making really bad aspects. And Uranus most probably is departing from his 11th house. This is the house of the good spirit. So such Uranus is not so malefic. So Uranus is not so malefic, and he is the planet, I think, which helped for his release from jail. Also, Jupiter is also in Taurus. Jupiter entered Taurus in May already, and you have Jupiter, Uranus, and Saturn in Taurus. This is his seventh house, which is responsible for, for partnerships, also his negotiations, the discussion of his court case. So I think Uranus entered, and he said, "That's it, end of this theater." And Uranus stays in one sign 7 years. So I believe that indeed he will be free. It's not just a story that we read on the internet. Also, Uranus is forming a great trine to his natal Uranus, to his natal Mars. So this is, I think Uranus is the main player who having the highest rulership, the highest, the last word, if you want, because he's very high. As a hierarchy on the sky, he decided set him free. Maybe we'll be surprised, not much surprised actually, if we see that on the 18th they already said we decide to release him when Uranus entered Taurus, because Uranus immediately gives results. He enters some house and you have the result. This is not like Saturn. Saturn would react slower. So this is brief, ladies and gentlemen, but it's clear. Even if this is not his ascendant, I still believe Uranus had the authority over his Saturn in Taurus, and he's the main player behind the release of Assange. I very much hope now, when Saturn is turning retrograde on the 29th, 30th of June, that they don't say, "Oh, let's revisit. Maybe we don't let him go now," and that they don't cause delay or some obstacle. I hope they manage to form all papers for his release by the 30th, because later, when Saturn would come into Aquarius, would become retrograde into his fourth house, could be that they come up with some, "Oh no, this is not right, let's revisit." this decision or so. I have no idea how this juridically is uh, play is put, but could be that they cause delay. That's why hopefully he has good astrologers to tell him arrange our paperwork to his lawyers now, because after the 29th you may have delay. So this was briefly just to give you idea. And for me, it was interesting. And a friend wrote me, Lisa, thank you. On internet, she said, "Look, Assange is free. You have to make to look at his chart." So I decided with great interest to do this immediately, because I felt this like the greatest injustice of our time among our other injustices. So all the best to you. If you have comment, if you know more, if you by chance know better his time of birth, let me know. I will be certainly revisiting. All the best.